Welcome to 𝐒𝐭𝐮 Expert Sessions. The presentation will begin shortly.
Cyndi, now I'd like to talk to you about how Wanderlust Campus tackles strategy implementation. So how do your teams develop the implementation plans? What goes into the process of developing those tasks and those actions that you need to consider in order to realize a goal?
Yeah, so when we're mapping out our big goals, we love to start with like, what's the big audacious goal? We even put it, we actually have a graph that we use internally. We put it in the center of this circle, and then we figure out what are all of the sub projects or sub tasks that are going to need to happen in service of the big audacious goal, right? So if we talked about on our last session, right? Like Wanderlust Campus or Wanderlust CEO, our program for our agency owners. We're going to build this thing. What does that mean? They're going to need a training program for their ICs, for their contractors. They're going to need to know, how do you start a travel agency? What's the structure for hiring, for recruiting, for onboarding, for performance management, all the different tiers that you would need. What are the different pieces that we would need to build out curriculum-wise, support-wise? What experts do we need to bring into the conversation that they would have access to build our support group? So we basically subtask all of the different things out that are in service to that big goal. And that's how we manage every major project that we have in the company.
So certainly you wouldn't be able to launch all these projects on your own and the work, related to that. So can you talk a little bit about your team structure and what roles key members play in carrying out that work? And I'm interested,
Yes.
Specifically, do you use like your current organizational structure to assign work? So you're basically kind of flowing it through your organizational chart, or do you put subject matter experts in charge of some of these projects?
Yeah, absolutely. We had to grow so fast, so quickly, because the demand for what we were doing was pretty big. So at first, I was writing all of the curriculum, I was doing the training, I was hosting the things. And then when we switched to doing more of small group training to larger group training, we realized really quickly we need a bigger training schedule. We need more people to write curriculum, to edit it, to sign off on things. So we scaled pretty quickly. One of the first two key roles that I put in place. One was an operational manager to manage our existing clients, to make sure we were continuing to do a phenomenal job on what we promised to deliver for our clients that were in our ecosystem. And then for future development, I put in a director of curriculum who then would hire curriculum builders. And we were getting in, doing everything from what do they need in the new programs? How do we build this content out? And for a long time, I was still doing the final edits on all of that stuff. And I still today will write little pieces of the curriculum, but we now have a phenomenal team that builds out those pieces in alignment with what my vision is. And that allows us to work much faster. So those were two really key positions. Both of those positions are still thriving. In fact, they've both grown and gotten promotions since we've been growing so much. But we have a whole curriculum and development team built out, and operationally, it has just exploded. We have so many more coaches working for us now and experts that work within the programs. We have 4 different training schedules that we manage for the 4 different programs. Plus, we have a training schedule for our graduate community where we do some additional things for our graduates too. So it is like a fully operational school, very similar to a school environment for sure.
So we talked a little bit in our last discussion about the risks associated with any strategy or that you want to launch. How do you and those things change as you're during the implementation process, because some of those inputs change. So how do you approach things like budget associated with each task? How do you manage that? How do you approach that to know, am I on the right track or not?
Yeah, great question. So similar to what we talked about a few sessions ago, which is like starting with the last chapter and then building the book from there, we do the same thing with budgets. We say, okay, if we build this thing, how much is appropriate to charge for it so the client's getting value? And then how many would we need to sell in order to cover our costs, pay everybody that we would need to support this program, and then make a reasonable profit, right? For like, is this worth our time and effort to actually build this thing that people are telling us that they need, or we know that is needed in the industry? So we work from the endpoint backwards, and we say, okay, we would need this many students a year in order for this to be a successful successful from a budgeting perspective. So that's how we kind of build out our financial models whenever we're thinking about doing something new. And that's worked very successfully for us. And you have to be open to making adjustments too, because if you're charging too little, then you have to be able to adjust. If you're charging too more, you have to be able to adjust. So we watch that very carefully in terms of how we're enrolling and is it on track to meet the financial model that we originally put together.
Great. And finally, Cyndi, how do you reward your teams for accomplishing goals, and how do you celebrate success?
Yeah, so we do a lot of different things. We work in a fantastic industry where at the size that we are now, we work with a lot of great travel suppliers who do things that are called FAM trips, which are like free educational trips. So we get some of those in terms of in our infrastructure. So sometimes my team gets to participate. I can't go on all of those. So I usually just go, hey, who wants to go on a river cruise next month? Who wants to do this kind of thing? Yeah, so great perks when it comes to travel. The other thing that's really unique about our environment is I don't need my people to work in an office. In fact, we're very free thinking in terms of our staffing model. So, and we're a travel company. One of our values is we want our staff to showcase what it's like to be free. Like you can work from anywhere. So I have staff that does their calls from Mexico. They might be in the Caribbean. They might be in Hawaii. They might be in Paris. It doesn't matter where they are as long as they can turn the camera on and train their class or do their coaching session. My staff travels all over the world while they're working for us. So those are huge perks that a lot of other companies can't offer. And we're also very family first. We teach that you can build your business around your life. So we allow our staff to spec off their time. If your child needs to go to a field trip and you don't want to miss it and it's in the middle of the day, I don't care. Let me know what your schedule is and we can work around that. So we're very free in terms of that scheduling piece and how they want to put things together. And then we do bonuses. We do fun things. We do different, we get together and do summits. We do our planning sessions on cruises. Like we're a travel company. So we really try to fully embrace that whole lifestyle across the board and especially with our staffers.
If you meet a goal or you hit a KPI, is there a type of celebration maybe that you do as a team, even if you're far flung across the globe?
Yeah, we do the funniest things. So sometimes we'll send gift packages. We actually have, I should have brought one. We have these cute little, I'll send you a picture. We have these cute little suitcases that we give to all of our students when they go through our programs, our mastermind programs. And I do the same thing for my staff. Like when we launch a new brand or we hit a big goal or at the holiday time, I'll stuff it through I like to hand pick that stuff. I think that's important. So like at Christmas time, we did these really cute sweatshirts and it said, I'm a who's who on Cyndi Lou's crew. And it had all the programs on there, along with their Christmas bonuses, of course. So we'd like to do fun things like that, just to have that kind of orchestrated all through the environment. But yeah, we love to do gifts. We love to reward our staff. And sometimes when we do retreats and things like that, we'll do add-on activities or special things. When we were on our cruise ship recently, I took the whole leadership team to something called the chef's table, which is where the chef of the cruise ship is a special table for only like 20 people. And they serve you like an 8-course meal with different wines and different desserts and different food. And they tell you about where the food's from. Fantastic event. But normally the normal person wouldn't spend that money on that. But we treat our team in ways like that they can take forward and share and be excited about.
That's awesome, Cyndi. Thank you so much for your insight and thank you for your time.
Of course, my pleasure.